Joffrey Baratheon is arguably the most hated TV show character of all time. His bratty, insecure, hateful self are a few reasons for that. And oh yeah, he may have also killed the protagonist or something.
Sir Ilyn, bring me his head.
But after Joffrey sadly passed away on the TV show, Game of Thrones just didn't feel the same. And I'm not saying that from a quality perspective. We saw like banger moments like Tyrion's trial, Oberyn versus the Mountain, the Watchers on the Wall, and so many other amazing scenes in season 4, which in most people's opinion is the best season of the show. But after Joffrey exits the show, it definitely feels like the fun of the show went away. And it makes total sense. In a world where you have characters like Peter, Baelish, Tywin, and Olenna, it felt good having a character like Joffrey who was very short-sighted. A character who isn't calculated, a character you don't have to be 2 steps ahead of, a character who legit just doesn't care if he shows all of his cards, and a character who is just downright kinda stupid and easy to make fun of.
I'm telling Mother!
And you only realize this when you re-watch the show. The first time you watch Game of Thrones and Joffrey dies, you get filled with such a euphoric feeling. You want to go outside and just hug everyone you see. And it's like you want to sing the SpongeBob song, "It's the best day ever." Because when he dies, the monkey off your back just goes away. And if you're like me and your favorite character is Tyrion, then the monkey on your back wasn't just like a normal chimpanzee, it was King Kong. And seeing Joffrey die the first time is like the feeling you get when your doctor delivers you your baby. A true once-in-a-lifetime joy to be felt. But when you re-watch the show, his death loses the satisfying feeling. Because when Joffrey dies, so does the fun. And when our fun dies, so does the comfort. Joffrey, even though he was erratic and evil, there was still a level of comfort to his character. Because we know he's not going to have like a secret battle plan. He's just gonna do something like really predictable and evil and move along with his day. Like literally, just don't piss him off and you should be fine. But if you do piss him off, as long as you aren't Tyrion or Sansa, you most likely have more power than him. A scene that I absolutely love and that proves this is in season 3 episode 10, where Joffrey and Tywin collide in a masterfully written and beautiful way.
My father won the real war. He killed Prince Rhaegar. He took the crown while you hid on a costly rock.
The king is tired. See him to his chambers.
Come along.
I'm not tired.
We have so much to celebrate. A wedding to plan. You must rest.
Grand Maester, perhaps some essence of nightshade to help him sleep.
I'm not tired!
I love that scene because it gives so much like comfort to Joffrey. If Tywin had a verbal battle with like Varys or Littlefinger, there would be a lot of consequences to breaking that relationship. Obviously like that would never happen, but if it did, Varys and Littlefinger are powerful, and not having that information that they have would be detrimental to the Lannisters. There would actually be consequences. But with Joffrey, it's like, yeah, small fight, get over it, fuck it, we ball, you know what I mean? And when Joffrey dies, this comfort is just like stripped away. So it's kind of very ironic how Joffrey all this time is like your comfort character. I mean, that's like a crazy revolution. That's a bigger plot twist than the Red Wedding. Who would have guessed that this guy would be the warmest part of the show?
Traitors! I'll have all their heads!
But now let's talk about the other side of the spectrum. The dark side of the presence of Joffrey in Game of Thrones. Well, in order to talk about this, we have to start from the main character himself, Ned Stark. Ned, by all accounts, was the main character of Game of Thrones. Everything revolved around him. Ned's child was the one that was thrown out the window by a kinky couple. Ned's bastard son is our main point of view for the Wall. Daenerys is only alive because of Ned. Everything revolved around him in season 1. He was the main guy pushing the story forward. And he was just so likable, like he never stopped dropping sassy quotes even if it meant risking his own life to look badass as possible.
Your brother? Or your lover?
And then he dies. He is gone. And the writers made sure you knew that the only person to blame for his death is Joffrey Baratheon, the prince who was promised. Everyone tried telling Joffrey not to do it. Cersei and Varys literally tried to stop it. But nope, it was solely on Joffrey's command. And killing the main character is bad enough, but killing the main character for no reason is even worse. And the TV show constantly reminds you that Ned Stark's execution was a huge mistake made by literally just one person. It was literally like nothing but a mistake.
You were right about Eddard Stark. If he were alive, we could have used him to broker a peace with Winterfell and River Run, which would have given us more time to deal with Robert's brothers. But now, madness. Madness and stupidity.
If you compare that to the Red Wedding, it's a totally different game. The Red Wedding made total sense to happen. Tywin needed to stop Robb Stark to win the war. The Boltons needed to stop Robb Stark to win Winterfell. And the Freys were justified in breaking their oath with Robb kinda because Robb broke their oath with them. Everything made sense and everyone wins. A very calculated and strategic plan. But when you look at Ned Stark's death, nothing made sense. It was just Joffrey wanting to show his power and thinking that this is what kings have to do. Ned's death was so unjustified that it would make an impact basically like all the way through. Joffrey truly was like a menace at the end of season 1. And if Joffrey tormenting the season 1 protagonist wasn't bad enough, Joffrey then would annoy the protagonist of season 2. But luckily Tyrion did have enough power and respect to get away with a lot more. And in my opinion, we had like the best dialogue and the most like satisfying moments in the entire show in season 2 with Joffrey and Tyrion.
We've had vicious kings and we've had idiot kings, but I don't know if we've ever been cursed with a vicious idiot.
You can't!
I can, I am.
They attacked me!
They threw a cow pie at you, so you decide to kill them all. They're starving, you fool, all because of a war you started.
You're talking to a king!
And now I've struck a king. Did my hand fall from my wrist?
Joffrey was so fun in season 2 because Tywin wasn't there, which means no one could really control him. He just did what he wanted and it's kind of hilarious. Season 3 Joffrey was more calm because Tywin is there and I absolutely love that. It's such a real reaction from a person like Joffrey. He secretly knows that Tywin is like the real king. And if he doesn't know, at least the audience knows, which helps his character a lot.
You're a fool if you believe he's the most powerful man in Westeros.
A treasonous statement. Joffrey is king.
You really think a crown gives you power?
When you look at like the big 5 villains of Game of Thrones, Tywin, Joffrey, Ramsay, Cersei, and the Night King. Remove the Night King for obvious reasons because he don't like even talking. Then you got those 4. Joffrey is the most unique one because he has literally 0 redeeming qualities. I mean, you compare him to like the others and just look. Like Cersei, yeah, she's a villain, but she has a lot of reasons to hate Robert. She also has a lot of reasons to protect her children, and she's a total MILF. Those are reasons why sometimes you can be on her side. And Tywin is evil. The stuff he did to Tyrion was awful. But Tywin wins. He is badass. He wants his family and his name to win, and he doesn't care if people say he's evil, because people are fearful of him to the point where he knows no one will say that to his face. That's a cool quality, kind of like other villains like Darth Vader. Then you look at Ramsay, who is probably the most evil out of everyone on the show.
Ramsay has his own way of doing things.
Oh, that's about right. You had a good sized cock.
But Ramsay isn't too bad because he's punishing Theon, who deserves it. And Ramsay does look cool as hell. He definitely looks maxed because his jawline and his clean face is to die for. But Joffrey, on the other hand, besides his drip, he's got essentially no good qualities besides being Azor Ahai, of course. And that's what makes you hate him more than any other villain. Tywin, Cersei, Ramsay, none of them really have that level of hatred towards them like people did for Joffrey. Like, everyone hated this man.
Never been so moved and aggravated by a baddie on television in my entire life. He's unsettling and hateable on so many different levels.
One thing that I think is really cool to know is that the episode where Joffrey died, the Purple Wedding, that episode was written by George R.R. Martin. So if you ever thought, damn, why is this quality and dialogue of this episode a tiny bit better than the rest? It's because it was written by possibly, God himself. And I don't want to make jokes about Joffrey's death, there's like so many out there. But the detail that George put in this scene is so cool. One of the things that I love is that even though Tyrion hates Joffrey, George wrote it in that Tyrion is actually more conflicted and shocked about it. And is genuinely concerned about what is actually like happening to a child.
At the moment when Joffrey is actually dying, I tried to give a instant of pathos there where Tyrion, who's watching it happen, realize is he's seeing a 13-year-old kid in terror, choking to death.
And it makes sense. Joffrey is a victim of incest, so technically you could argue his entire story was actually a sad, dark story of a traumatic royal inbreeding and being born with such insane privilege with a bunch of titles.
All hail his grace, Joffrey of houses Baratheon and Lannister, first of his name, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, and high score on Mario Kart.
And there are real-life historic kings who have inspired the character of Joffrey. And I might talk about them in another video, but I always loved how George says that he knew a few bullies and assholes in real life who inspired the character of Joffrey.
My theory, is he somebody that you went to school with?
You know, there might be something to that. I think he's about 5 or 6 people that I went to school with.
What do for Joffrey, out of interest?
Joffrey, I knew a lot of assholes.
Joffrey has such a special place in most Game of Thrones fans' hearts, but they never even give like credit to it because of how annoying and hateful he is. So I guess this is kind of a video giving that real respect to Joffrey. Like full on glazing him, you know, like free my boy Joffrey, he did nothing wrong. And yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. My voice is coming back, it's a lot better than a few videos ago, so normal content should be coming out soon. And yeah, like, subscribe, and peace.